seconden zei ik. Customization, or in Dutch, maatwerk. The topic comes to the table at every cloud ERP implementation or conversation. Can you still tailor the system to bring the business to align it to this, to bring the business to the cloud and align it to the business processes? And the short answer from Scheer is yes, but the how has fundamentally changed. And that's why today we have two heroes.
Who are today's heroes?
Those are Stefanie van Hegelson, Schulkes and Sanne van Bruijnsvoort, both working at Scheer Netherlands, a company that focuses on SAP Cloud ERP. And Stefanie and Sanne bring in an extensive track record of SAP experience. And if we count it up, it's 37 years in total. And let's do the average between you. That doesn't... we don't go into ages. We will get into Clean Core maybe and what BTP can bring, but actually what SAP Build is doing and enables in practice, where AI and Joule fit in the extensibility story and how you can manage all of this across the release cycle of SAP being pushed to the customers working with Cloud ERP. Welcome to HANA Cafe Netherlands.
HANA Cafe Nederland is your one-stop shop for all things SAP. Grab yourself a coffee or tea and John Regulus, Jan Penninghoff and Tom van den Broek with their guests as they chat about latest developments, innovations, events or simply catch up. Let's head inside.
Ja, welkom Stefanie.
Hi, welcome.
Welkom Sanne.
Hi, thanks. Nice to be here.
Ja, welkom Jan.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
I chose a special spot today.
Yeah.
Next to a lot of buttons.
That might be a risk for today's episode. Yeah.
Not my problem.
Let's see, but hopefully you have enough coffee so that you can still hold your cup and not the buttons over here.
I don't know where to put it now.
Not at the buttons, no. Okay, now, Scheer focusing on Cloud ERP, that's what I just mentioned. But it's also looking at maybe the customizations. You're talking about the cloud mind shift. Maybe Stefanie, can you explain what is this cloud mind shift?
Yeah, so in the past we have implemented, for instance, ECC, so a lot of on-premise, and now we're only focusing on public cloud. And what we saw in the past with ECC is that a lot of customizations were created in the system, a lot of Z transactions and stuff like that. And now currently, especially with public cloud, it's more rigid. However, with the options that you have, for instance, still in S/4HANA Public Cloud or even connecting to the BTP, the system is open again for customizations, but it has a different mindset. So that's why we say the cloud mindset needs to happen. You stick with the standards, but you still have options to actually extend everything and make it still according to your business processes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what are the options? What can you then bring to the table at customer side?
You want it?
What is your toolbox?
Yeah, so there are several things that you can do. We are specialists in the public cloud, so there in the app there are several things you can do, like adding fields that are specific to your business, or adding tables, or what in the old ECC was called user exits. There are still some things you can change. We call that bodies. And if things are not possible within the core to keep it stable, then of course we have the BTP, the Business Technology Platform.
Yeah.
There we are. Yes. And there you can make the side-by-side extensions. You can do whatever you like with pro code or low code. And with public APIs, you can get information and push it back to your core public cloud system.
Yeah. Okay. Now we know each other from the SAP community, right? And we've seen some of the parties where the family gets together, the SAP family gets together, despite bringing in different business cards. But especially last year we saw each other at SAP NL. You were joining the pre-event where we had some hands-on workshops on the Joule Studio, Joule Skills, building Joule Skills.
Brand new at that point.
Yeah. Brand new. And then we just at lunch and we talked about so much has already changed again since November last year. But you also mentioned that you were using SAP Build extensively. So maybe you can enlighten us a little bit on experience that you have with SAP Build, and you can be
And
you
Joule.
can be honest.
Okay. So if first of course we had SAP Build. We've built apps and built process automation, for instance. What we see, for instance, with a customer where we created a big build app where it was even a bit on the side. Is it still low code or are we almost going to pro code? Is that we saw that the screens in S/4HANA Public Cloud were a bit too extensive for the users, too much clicking, the information was spread all over the screen, and they wanted to have a simpler screen, and they wanted to make like the actions for the user easier to do, and also on the road. So we created a build app so that they see, in this case it was for project management, that the project manager could see, okay, these are my basic details of the project. Oh, I want to, I'm here at the customer. They said, okay, for this part of the project, it's okay, we get additional budget. So then in the app they could say, please create an additional work package, staff it with, for instance, Sanne, he will do the work, this is my budget, and then save. And then everything was sent with APIs towards S4. Whereas then normally it would be clicking. In the screen it was everything on there. Open a new screen, for instance, with all the details that you want to send to S4, and then it was immediately sent. And with the APIs, immediately also the newly created information was retrieved from the system and shown in the app.
Yeah.
So it was super easy for them to just on the road do everything. Also another example, for instance, with process.
Hold on. Little pause. Because what's interesting, because you were mentioning that the screen was overwhelmed with a lot of information, which was probably a Fiori screen.
Yeah.
Imagine that they had ECC.
Yeah, I was thinking when we first started off with S4, we called it the S would stand for simple.
Yeah.
We started off with simple finance.
But it was compared to ECC, it was simple.
Yeah, because the fact that we were doing it on a persona basis, we were trying to dress down the number of fields that we had in screens and stuff. But still. Yet, if you look at the amount of fields, apparently, it's still too much for regular use.
Yeah, well, I think screens, if you look at the lifetime of a screen or a transaction or a functionality in SAP, it always adds more information, more fields along the way, and then at some point in time, you even have to simplify the simplified screen of S/4HANA.
Yeah, but still, for instance, if you look at the business partner, the business partner can have so many fields, especially if you go into the old transaction. There, it's all stored in tables, and you need to click on a certain view. Also, in the new app, you need to you see the basic data of the business partner, but if you then go on like further, there you have all the data for a customer, and then if it's also a supplier, then for a supplier, etc., etc. I once investigated together with our manager. What is actually needed to create a business partner, because most of the times what we see with customers is that most data is actually always the same. Often you have that a payment term is always like you can choose 3, but sometimes you have a list of that many. So we created also a build app. What is actually needed to get the business partner up and running, considering for sales? And I would then really simply say, okay, I want to create a business partner now for sales area 3710, for instance, what we use in the Netherlands often, and then just your basic address details and your payment terms, and that's it. And then a basic business partner was created because of all the fields that you normally have to fill in were automatically plotted, and that's what saves a lot of time for users.
And but you mentioned extensibility already, right? We have S4 extensibility as well. Specifically in public cloud, we have this thing called key user extensibility as well. Yeah. And I would expect there to make to be that's functionality to be used to make that kind of changes, so that if you have an organization that uses only half of the fields that you have available in your business partner, that you just wipe out all the fields that you don't need.
Yeah, but sometimes you do need to see how the standard is filled, because of course if you run a process and then all of a sudden something goes wrong, you do want to see why it went wrong, because sometimes a field is not plotted where it should have plotted a default value. So,
but does it go for every? I mean, it's user specific, right?
Yeah,
or user group specific.
Depends. Most of the time you can then say, okay, for this particular sales area, if you look at multiple sales areas within a company, often the sales area would say, okay, these are my default values. So,
but so the build application that you built, was it was targeted at a specific user group, and maybe then there are still the key users that using the real...
Yeah.
So you can't wipe them off the simplified S/4HANA screens.
No, it's more like a self-service. We also build an app to, for example, for the people of the purchasing department to create a purchase requisition, but only the necessary fields. And then in the background, all kinds of default values were added. And then in the back office would then judge the purchase requisition, maybe add some information, and then process it further. So and the same with the project manager app. So in the project administrator would use all the fields in the Fiori app, but we made a simplified screen for the project manager app.
Yeah. Well, screens are something of the past anyway, right? I mean, if we're in the car, if we're mobile users, we just take our phone and we call a Joule and we tell Joule to create this customer that we just visited in place so and so with a prospect of this and that.
That seems to be the future.
That was not last year.
No.
No, but okay, you built it with SAP Build apps, and of course we now know that Build apps will not be continued with SAP. So if you would start today, what would you now do?
Well, SAP is investigating a lot with agents as well. I mean, we've seen it everywhere. Agents are developed, and with those agents, it will be very easy for use because you're just writing a conversation to a person, to an agent, and then that agent would actually do all the actions towards the S4 system. And then of course, always with a check, like, did I understand you correctly before the action is done, which makes it even like less development time for us. I hope we have work in a few.
It's what we have seen at Sapphire, like the intent-based development, and what you were just showing a preview just before the podcast. With the new Joule Studio. Yeah.
But also already now what SAP has developed with Joule Skills, and then also with the Joule agent. The Joule Skills is literally asking an agent to perform a certain action which is available with an API. But then with the agent you can actually combine certain skills to make sure that the for instance the business partner is elaborated with several data that you want to add. So it's more of a conversational thing where it's going to, instead of building a UI, a simplified UI with all kinds of actions behind it, but still it's mostly also still a bit based on APIs in the end.
But it's good, because the data is of course in the database, and accessing the data via the regular business rules is important. That's why we still have the APIs and that we require the APIs. Imagine agents just going into the HANA database. That would be a mess.
Sometimes. I was writing on LinkedIn recently, and I said boring is good when it comes to enterprise, right? But just simple APIs with a deterministic outcome, and instead of a non-deterministic outcome of an AI, is often preferred when it comes down to creating things like journal entries or business partners or that sort of things. And definitely following the business logic that we have built into the applications as well, instead of just hammering something into a HANA connector straight into the database, right? Which is something that we really shouldn't do.
Especially because we then can go back to the time era that we do select star from HANA, but then from HANA.
Insert BKPF.
For example.
Good idea.
Think of new GL accounts. But let's not go into that. But you also mentioned you had experience with Joule Skills. Did you also already implement skills at customer side?
No, we just did it. We as Scheer have our own demo environment, also with S/4HANA Public Cloud. So we connected to that one just to check out what is available already, what's possible. And we installed it last year in the summer, and we actually got into contact with SAP because we tried a few things which was not available. And then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, now it's available." So we're trying to get more out of it as possible. For instance, at some point we're still trying it. It hasn't worked yet. That, for instance, you ask with a skill how many sales quotes are open, but has a validity end date of in the past. You normally would go into the system and then say, okay, close and close and close. There's a lot of repetitive tasks, and that's not the nicest for a business user to do. So what we try to do with a skill, give me a list of all the sales quotes which have expired, and then connect it to process automation, because then you get a list back of sales quotes, and for every single sales quote, perform a certain action with an API again. But the connection between process automation and Joule Skills was then a bit not developed fully. So
I think we're waiting for N8N to do this.
Maybe. But those kinds of things we were already thinking about. So sometimes we will ask colleagues which are on different projects, because if you're only looking at your own project, you know everything about it. But other colleagues on are on other projects, and there they face different problems. So then we would say like, okay, what's now a lot of clicking? What users have to do? With every implementation, key users will say, "Oh, this is not so nice in the new system. We had it better in the old system."
Yeah.
So we ask them like, what kind of things, what's their day-to-day problem that they still face, even though that they have a new system, or what kind of time-consuming tasks that they have to do. And at that point, we got some like business cases, and we try to recreate them or make them easier with skills.
Yeah. We need to put the software industry in something mixed with the car industry, because if I get a new car, I'm not thinking, oh, this was better in my old car.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you were laughing at me when I just mentioned, this case where you just visited the customer and just wanted to get your visit noted in the CRM system and your opportunity updated, and made sure that that outstanding item, of course, has been scrapped as well because they're going to pay immediately. That kind of thing. I just want to tell Joule that it's supposed to do all that kind of work instead of me having to go into an SAP system and a CRM system and another system eventually when I arrive and want to have dinner with my kids. Right?
Yeah.
So definitely we should marry SAP with the car industry.
Yeah, so maybe then, since you have this car with a big screen, like what Robin once did, he implemented UI5 in his Tesla, right?
Yeah, but then without UI5, without the user interface.
But now he does.
So the
now
user
he has to
interface
ask
is voice.
Robin to stop implementing UI5 in the Tesla, but now implement Joule in his Tesla.
Well, Robin has a Tesla, right? So
Yeah.
he'll be talking to Grok soon.
Oh.
And hopefully Grok will be talking to S4.
Via APIs, I hope. Yeah. Okay.
So we have to whitelist then Tesla.
Grok, which is even
we're going in a strange direction.
Absolutely daunting. I wouldn't whitelist Grok so easily.
Let's go into another topic in today's episode.
Yeah, let's step away from politics.
Yeah, that's a very wise decision. Yeah. So if you now look at you have a technical team in Scheer, and things are changing really fast, as we already discussed during lunch. And so, what kind of skills do you bring to the customer when customers implement the cloud ERP, but there are still some wishes that, hey, maybe we also want a little bit changes or more simplified screens. What kind of skills do you need in your team?
Yeah, so we are divided into several clusters. Some clusters are more focused on the business processes, on the traditional functional side.
Yeah.
We have a team of like 8-9 colleagues who are focusing on the technical stuff. But to be honest, we don't see it as technical, because nowadays, especially with what's coming up with Joule, the technical skills are less important. So we have a mix of data specialists, pro-code specialists, integration specialists, but also low-code specialists. But also sometimes we ask our functional colleagues to help us out with certain change requests. So what we do is we intake a change request from our projects. We have a rhythm for that, a standard rhythm. And then we see who is the best qualified to do it. And sometimes it's even if you need more let's say tools to build the solution, then it's we work together, and sometimes one colleague can do everything, but we coordinate that, and then we deliver that. So it's like so even though we are working in projects and our project managers working, we are still like a pool of resources that help each other out.
Yeah.
That's how we are organized, and we also in our personal plans, in our development plans, we check, okay, so what do we think that is important in the future? Which services or tools are becoming more important? Where do we see a lot of project work in the future? Like, for example, what you showed with Joule Work and Joule Studio. And we also try to, in the non-project time that we have, try to learn those innovations and we explain each other internally. What is going on? We give each other demos and try to share the knowledge with each other.
I'm really curious to know more about what topics there are on your agenda.
Well, for sure.
Invite Jan.
No, that's seriously. Like,
It's Friday afternoon always.
So there are
yeah,
some.
there's always a Friday afternoon every week.
So there are some functional topics. So what you see, you have the public cloud. So there are also a lot of add-ons that are installed on the BTP. So like I give you one example, a DRC or the Advanced Financial Cockpit. So we have, let's say, functional installations on the BTP. But if you look at extensions on the core, then of course AI is on top of everything. So what's coming up with Joule Studio and Joule Work, we definitely, as soon as we have the opportunity to join a partner program, we do that.
Yeah.
What about Joule in general? I mean, Joule, for instance, in S4.
Yeah. So what we do is we check the Discovery Center every month.
There should be an agent for that.
to give you the updates.
Yeah, but you can also filter on what's new, so it's not that much work. But yes, we can build an agent for that. But and then we check what's new, and we check what is possible in our demo environment, or sometimes on the. That's also now rebranded the Experience Agent. What's out there, and actually that is also what. The let's say you can do the thing again, the low hanging fruit, what we can roll out to our customers, to our projects.
Yeah, so what we always, because we're in 3 different clusters, and our cluster's the most technical, sometimes our colleagues from more of the business process clusters are like, oh, this is hard, it is hard to follow, it's a bit of too tech savvy for me. So we always try to link it either through a business case that we had with a certain customer or customer in the past, or we try to link it to a business process so that they can understand it better, but also can see, okay, what's the benefit if I in the future see this in at a future customer happening. Oh, I can ask Sanne because he showed me this and that during that presentation, and that's how we want to evolve the rest of the company. I mean, we are the technical team, but it's not that we only do technical things. We want to elaborate it as much as possible in business processes. Yeah.
That makes sense as well, especially if you have this large library of agents coming up now, right?
Yeah.
There's 200 plus agents that we have?
Yeah, we...
do you know them all?
No, but we are actively testing right now with agents, especially then on S4, which are rolled out. We try to get onto the beta testing programs as much as possible. So for instance...
So what do you think of them? Are there agents that, no, never going to use that? Or ones that are really great?
If they are developed more, for instance, currently we have the project agent running, and currently, for instance, what they said is that you can write a prompt saying, please create a project for me, and then use this other project as a template. This is my ID, which I want to assign to the project, and this is my description, validity periods, and off you go.
There's something for you internally that you're using as a consulting company.
It's currently rolled out as a beta feature on our S4HANA demo tenant, literally at this moment.
Still demo, not production.
No. But it can work. It can save a lot of time. However, our manager was actually in a call where SAP showed it on our demo tenant. So, okay, please write now this prompt. And he said, I'm faster creating a project right now than waiting for the agent. But that's why, I mean, it's the first step.
You can be faster, but it still costs you time.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you know what I heard from a large projects company, they were looking into things like the time registration. Not so much the project management and the creation of a project, but time registration. They said, I have all my appointments. I have them in Outlook. Everything is there, including customer names and stuff and what I'm supposed to do there. Everything you can find in Outlook. And if you find, for instance, my emails and connect them to my agenda and connect that to the projects, then you should be doing the time registration automatically.
A colleague of ours who was actually in Madrid, at Sapphire, he was like, oh, but wouldn't be it nice that at the end of the day you would just tell your phone, hey Jules, please write 8 hours for me on this project, and then
or
done.
Like, I'm done for today.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most annoying thing for us as consultants. Do all the administration at the end. Oh, writing all your hours, putting
Been there,
all
done
your
that.
expenses. Yeah, it would be that would be seriously a time
writing.
saver. Yeah, time writing.
The
Yeah.
long- the
So
long-
in terms of project management, wouldn't that be a great agent for a company like Scheer?
I guess so. I think our project
should
administrator
look at your
Thea
manager.
would be very happy if everybody writes their hours, that she has to email everybody saying like, I'm missing your hours or I'm missing your hours. It's often a bit of
But you
a
mentioned
hassle.
that manually it could even be faster, that your colleague could do faster. Why is that? Is it still something in the configuration or in the implementation of the agent, or the agent's not finished yet?
I think the agent is not finished yet. I was in
Okay.
a call with SAP yesterday and they said we're still trying to see what is the most time consuming right now, or where do you get all the information that you need for a project to be created. So for instance, they asked me like how when we win a deal and when we start an implementation, of course our a project in our production environment needs to be created so that we can write our hours on it and then track everything, etc. They asked me like, where does the information come from considering the deal? And they said we currently see that sometimes it's this and then an email and this and that and that. They're trying to investigate if, for instance, the agent then at some point can look through a document and then get all the necessary information out and plot it into the system. And there is the key that will work. But currently the agent is not there yet.
Okay.
But it's, I mean, it's a first draft.
Yeah, they're training the agent
Yeah.
on base of your information.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little secret to just make this very interesting for you? The thing that you just saw, Joule work, it connects to S4, right? It connects to your email as well.
Ooh.
But can you imagine?
Can you explain what Joule Work is for our listeners and viewers?
Joule work is the evolution of what we had with Joule inside your app, right? So it's now taking over the big screen, and from there you can
Joule
do your
Desktop.
Joule desktop, Joule work, Joule work as part of desktop and spaces. So what you can do is basically talk to your systems, and not only to your S4 system. So it's connected to your email as well, right? So if you have something like an opportunity, like you mentioned just now, you can basically ask Joule work, like check the emails to see where this information is coming from. Or I have a customer objection for a certain, and I need to handle that objection. Give me the emails that we're talking about these objections and see why it's not fair to, for a customer to complain about this or that or such or so, or meerwerk, right? That kind of things. So if you combine, that's I think extremely powerful. If you start combining things like your documents with your emails, with, for instance, the opportunities that you're having in your system, with your project management administration. Now that's the future of work, Twan.
Yeah. So you're going to do the keynote at SAP TechEd with this story.
He's practicing now.
Good story.
SAP, pay attention.
It's a good story. It's just a delivery that fails usually. For me.
This is also the story that has been told at Sapphire. This is where we are going, and hopefully at TechEd we can see that it's actually working.
Let's hope so.
Because Sapphire was a lot of storytelling and showing what the future is, when TechEd is usually then the implementation of that future.
Yeah, that's why I thought of giving our good friends of Scheer a little preview already.
Yeah.
Until you disturbed and said, at 2:00 we have to start with this podcast.
Yeah, but we can continue after the podcast.
Exactly.
But
Now,
if we get the license for the Joule work, then we will build this time writing agent.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah. But let's go, because we of course can look into the future, but I'm also interested in your experiences and how SAP delivers tools that you actually have to work with, and you have done that with the low-code variant, like SAP Build. That's changing now. But what were your experiences with the tools that SAP has been delivered? Could you do your daily work at a customer site with those tools?
Yeah, I mean, there are always gaps. I mean, whenever we start a project, there's always, during the fit to standard workshops, there's always gaps that they say, okay, this transaction doesn't work, or we want to have an additional approval flow, which is currently not available in S4. And then you immediately start thinking of, okay, what is possible on the B2B? And there's actually quite a bit possible. And especially you first go into more the low code, no code. It's easier to deliver, it's faster, it's easy maintainable. Especially for instance with process automation, then you can actually build your own workflows with it. So, and then even send out emails saying, hey, by the way, your request is now approved, and now we're sending the data towards S4 again with an API, because it's all available with open APIs. So yeah, we've seen it there. However, especially with process automation, if at some point the bot is coming into place, then IT security sometimes is like, because you do have to install something.
Oh, you mean the agent that's running on the desktop?
Yes,
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's sometimes a bit of a
agent.
yeah. The desktop agent is sometimes a bit of a killer of the process. But then
Mhm.
of course you still can look into different solutions. For instance, we looked at process automation at a certain customer, where we used actually very old the recorder, which was introduced in process automation. Yeah, so
That's input map.
so literally you could record the steps that need to be clicked, because we were looking for some sort of application job which was not available in S4. So we then said, okay, well, we can do it with the recorder, because then the agent will click every time. And then they said, no.
Wait. It's still there. The batch input map is still there.
No, it doesn't. That's what we know from the past. But Build Process Automation has the recorder functionality.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Of course, for RPA.
Yeah. And well, they said at the end, no, that's not possible. But then you have to widen your scope and look at other tools on the BTP. And then in the end, we figured it out, because it was literally the batch job would send out or create a PDF and send it out immediately from S4 with all the clicks. So what we then did is we created an integration flow, which actually looked at all the documents which had to be sent out that day. So we created a CDS view for it. So there's another bit of extensibility. And then it would pick up all the information which was needed for the PDF form, and went to Adobe on the BTP to generate the form. And then after that, it would send out the actual PDF to the supplier using the MS Graph APIs. So we, in the end, fixed it with a bit of creativity left and right, and a lot of extensibility with different tools on the BTP. So even though sometimes one door closes, another door can open with on the same platform.
But you have to be creative.
Very, and also it's trickier to maintain. Yeah, it went from literally a recorder with like 5 steps, and then like a for instance an Excel which would state all the documents which had to be sent out, to several CDS views which had to be maintained. The form has to be maintained. You have to check your iFlow if it runs into errors. Then there's an API towards MS Graph which can actually time out at some point. So it went into like a huge iFlow which they had to maintain. So there's indeed then, if you move from a simple solution which is in the end not accepted by the customer, to a very big solution which then of course comes with maintenance cost. But still it's possible.
This maintenance is a very interesting topic, because now you have developed with creativity all kind of components like Lego blocks into one solution. But now in your future, Jan, your future, then you have an intent, you have the prompt, and you have all kind of agents first creating what you need, and then the agents are running the process. How are you going to maintain the process? How is the inside of all those agents?
Yeah, so it's just funny, because you have the non-deterministic part and you have the deterministic part. And if you're in AI, your reflex is almost to go into the non-deterministic part, solve that problem with an slap on AI on top of it, and the AI will do everything. But that's non-deterministic, and usually in enterprise that's bad, because it's not boring. It's follow the process, right? And this is why you have agents or AI to build basically the deterministic process. So this is why you have Joule Studio, right? An agent to build a deterministic process with workflows, with steady workflows, with steady applications, and steady
routines. Can you still monitor those workflow processes then?
Of course you can.
Okay.
So we have Cloud ALM, right?
Yeah. Will it be available for the? Because of course in Cloud ALM for operations you can monitor all kinds of your applications. Like in S4 you have then with the integration and exception monitoring, and all. For instance, if you have a Sales Cloud at some point, will it be available for Joule as well? Like for the
for Joule? Yeah.
Or is that,
actually,
is that
all the agents
agent
that
hub? Is it LeanIX?
Well, it's part of it.
Yeah.
So all the agents that you're building with Joule but we're not talking about deterministic now. We're talking about non-deterministic, right? So if you build agents that are following up on a job, then those agents need monitoring as well. Well, first of all, they need guardrails. to make sure that at 2 a.m., when everyone is sleeping and you're not at the office, that they don't decide to plunder your bank account and put everything into the Cayman Islands, right?
And IT security will knock at your door.
Exactly. So this is the reason why agents always need guardrails. And if they're starting to do something like that, like moving money out of the country or something, that they're basically getting a no from the systems that they're talking to. Second thing is they need to be monitored as well, right? So if you have that, we have things like the agent hub in Lean IX. Like, how many tokens is this agent burning at all? Is it even efficient? Do we meet the business case? Second thing, you have your processes. So in Signavio, we have processes documented, and we want agents in Signavio as well to see if those agents are following the process and where the outliers are. Second is identity management. So Joule agents will make sure that they work with identity management to have an identity. So they're basically a worker. In that sense, a worker is also supposed to be mentioned in SuccessFactors. So we even have a link to SuccessFactors. So if you talk about Joule and the agents that you build, they're not just like your grandmother's agent that we used to build in the past. They are something that fit. Yeah, they fit in the enterprise. So they fit in the identity management. They fit into the agent hub, the Lean IX. They fit into Signavio. They fit into SuccessFactors even, to make sure that full control is there.
Yeah, because also with currently, if you log in as a business user, you have roles. You have certain things that you can look at, which and actions you can do, but especially things you cannot do. I mean, somebody from logistics will not be able to look at your financial figures, for instance. And that's currently a bit hard if you generate an agent on, for instance, with Joule Studio, your old-fashioned Joule agent. It's all with API. So if you open up the API, and for instance, you're working in logistics, you're in finance, you're in sales, but at some point you can access the agent, then it's all open. And that's, of course, a bit of a tricky thing
that's
still.
Right. If you have a long-running agent, something that's running on continuously, that agent needs to have an identity as well. And this identity needs to have authorizations as well. You can't have agents to run on the SAP New and SAP All, right?
Yeah.
To put it on in all definitions. So an agent shouldn't have access to everything, especially if they are targeted to a certain task. They shouldn't have any reason to be calling APIs that have nothing to do with it. And this is, one of the guardrails that you can put in place to make sure that an agent only is accessing the data that it's supposed to and not anything else.
Okay. That's important, those guardrails.
That's a short story long.
What was the story this week that agents started to hack some other systems? There was
the Hugging Face of OpenAI. OpenAI said they had an AI sandbox, and somehow it escaped the sandbox and started hacking Hugging Face. Yeah, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
Let's not go on that. So let's turn things around. So you always ask difficult questions, but maybe Sanne and Stefanie have a difficult question for you.
That's unfair. I didn't prepare for that.
No, that's why it's a difficult question.
This is Jan's tough question.
But then for Jan, do you have a tough question for Jan?
You have one, Sanne?
You have one?
No, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, but they also they're also unprepared. They weren't thinking of questions. So now they started.
So and then you are first to ask them a difficult question then. No?
I might have a difficult question, but that's more of like timeline wise. Yeah. Because last year in June, July, the skills were introduced. And then SAP always said, the agents will be there October. And then it went into November, and then we went to December, and finally they were there. With this all new kind of thing, like what's your prediction? When will it actually be there up and running for instance, partners or people that want to jump on the big new wave, like customers? When will it be available? Because of course we see now a lot of things, but then when is it actually going to happen? In your opinion?
I think it's a very fair question. And I think...
it's also a difficult question.
No, it's not...
It had to be a difficult question, right?
Yeah. It's not so difficult. So whenever stuff is ready, we don't want to keep it, for the sake of keeping it until an event. And you see things are rolling out already. If you talk about, for instance, Integration Suite, then all the AI capabilities that we have been promising in Integration Suite have been rolled out.
The MCP server.
Yeah, well, so things like we had AI already in the content advisor. We had AI already in the business accelerator hub. We now have AI to generate integration flows as well. We have AI when it comes down to anomaly detection and API management as well. We have promised the MCP server to come. It's been released 2 weeks ago as well. So I showed you the little demo on what it will look like if you combine it with Joule work. So there's stuff coming out already, but there's a couple of things that at Sapphire were promised for later this year. And I think you should keep a good eye on what's happening at SAP TechEd.
Yeah.
Just a hint.
Yeah, but so if you look at the new Joule Studio, that will be available to a few customers in September, and then
We're hoping to
general
be one.
available in October. But yeah, that's what we need to look at what will be announced. But we don't wait for TechEd to announce everything. But yeah,
There will be nice announcements, at least like we just delivered, or we are very soon going
maybe
to
it will be
deliver.
delivered by this robot guy that was also last year at TechEd.
Here's everything we promised.
Yeah,
Mwah.
stepping on stage, giving him back to Philip. Yeah, okay. Will you be at TechEd?
It depends on our project work as well. I think around that I have a go live, and you just are done with one go live, so you're in hypercare.
Yeah, but we will check internally.
We will check.
Who
Yeah.
will join, but definitely if we get the opportunity, we want to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it's also going to be virtual.
Yeah.
So even if you're doing
Oh.
customer work, especially on Friday, make sure you have a second screen.
No, it's not on Friday, Jan. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's finished on Friday. Friday's going back day.
But on Friday you can do all the replays.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always signing up for everything and then do the replay afterwards, right?
Yeah, that's the difficulty. That's I think the downside of having everything also virtually available, because you plan to do a lot of sessions. And if you are on site, you will follow all those sessions. And if you are not on site but working for a customer, then it's going to the next week, to the next week, to the next week. It's
Well, at least I hope to be there. I really, really hope to be there, because there's so much exciting going on at the moment. So much AI stuff that is really exciting. That's groundbreaking, I think. And I want to be part of it.
Yeah, you can also send your agent.
And it's good, because what we saw in the past with S/4HANA Cloud is we saw that a lot of innovations were done on business processes, and currently it's finally the technical part which is the star of the show, which can get which like a lot of resources is going into. So let's see if AI will be.
Yeah, I think it should be
star of the
both. Like what
True.
you started off in this podcast with. So a lot of tech is driven by business, right? And hopefully there's new tech coming up, but it always serves a certain purpose.
We are a process company, so that should serve the processes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I really like how you if new technology is announced, I know that you like to play with it immediately and try to figure things out and try things out. Maybe what is a tip from your side to people in the SAP ecosystem, in the development ecosystem? How can they prepare for the future?
Well, what we often do is just also like check a lot of blogs or check the developer tutorials. Yeah, even it's
Follow HANA Cafe.
Yeah, follow HANA Cafe, of course. But that's you first need to get acquainted with the new software. Like, okay, what can it do? What can it not do? And then, of course, just try it out. Just first with a small tutorial, and then your creativity brain hopefully starts, and then you can start building up and make it more intricate. And also maybe what we do then, if we have built something which is for us, maybe it's like, it's still so small. Other colleagues, for instance, might be like, oh, did you already try to do this? That's already huge. So that's why we try to present to our colleagues every few weeks a new innovation, so that everybody gets excited about it. So
yeah, you can then inspire each other, and that's the community that you have at Scheer, which is I think important. Community is always helping into gain knowledge from each other. Yeah, all right.
And we also try to think of funny use cases, so not always the business processes. So for example, with SAP Build, I rebuilt the game Hitster.
Okay.
I made cards with a barcode that you could scan on your phone, and then SAP Build would show a question, and it would.
Yeah. If you're going for the 80s, I will join you, and then we'll see who will win.
I like
the
it.
Hitster game. Yeah, that's nice. Gamification of SAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there is like your innovation will be as much as
Yeah.
where your creativity will go.
Yeah.
In this case.
Yeah.
I can already imagine what's happening in those customers like you're working with. Like, okay, Joule, this is a picture of the Eiffel Tower. Now go into the warehouse and stack all the products that we have in the warehouse to reassemble the Eiffel Tower. That'll be fun for a Friday afternoon, no?
Yeah. And then you need this one that's just on the left bottom side, and then
Yeah, a Jenga tower.
Yeah, but Jan, also in the past, you also used SAP technology to optimize and automate your home, like with lights and heaters and stuff. So are you already using SAP agents to automate your home?
No, I am using AI agents though, but it's not. Unfortunately, this time it's not on SAP technology stack.
Not yet,
Whoopsie,
or
whoopsie.
not yet, or are you
No, I think not.
ah.
I do like the new MCP server a lot. So don't tempt me.
Okay. Automate your home. All right. Any other things that we forgot to discuss today in this episode of HANA Cafe? No?
No, I
think
think
so.
we're rather complete.
We're going
yeah.
back into the
Yeah.
traffic jams.
Yeah. Yay too, yay.
Yeah.
Going back to Joule Work Desktop.
And
Oh,
to
yeah,
play
true,
with-
true.
to play
So
with
we
that.
do want to
Yeah,
see
you-
another
You
demo,
promised,
yeah.
you promised
Stuff.
something. Yeah, maybe we should also do a video podcast so that you can then also show what you have shown to Stefanie.
Yeah,
and
so
Sanne.
on the
the
big screen.
bouquets are gone. The screen is there.
Yeah.
so why not?
Yeah, maybe for
Yeah,
next time.
For next time.
Yeah, Stefanie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Sanne, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Jan, it was good to have you back.
Thanks, Van.
And dear listener, thanks for watching this episode of HANA Cafe, or watching or listening to this episode, and see you next time.
And that's a wrap for this episode of HANA Cafe Netherlands. Jan and Tom loved having you here. Drop us a line if you have any thoughts or want to be on the show. We'll be back soon with more SAP goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.
Lekker weekend.
Fijn weekend.
Fijn
Fijn
weekend.
weekend.
Bye.